How about some tips for continuous bound sleeve plackets? That's a mouthful, right? Well, these are annoyingly fiddly to sew plackets that are supposedly easier than tower plackets to assemble because you're not going to get confused with rights and lefts and fronts and backs. I still find them very annoying, but they look so good when they're finished. I like to help myself out by stitching the stitching line in a contrast colour thread on my machine with an easy to unpick stitch length, like a 3. Then you have to snip up the centre of the opening, terrifying, and I recommend adding a little blob of fray check to the end of the point. This dries clear so you won't even see that it's there, plus it's going to be encased in your placket, so don't worry about it. Your bias strip now needs sewing along the stitch line to the wrong side of the sleeve. This involves like opening out the slit until it lies in a straight line. Very stressful if you haven't added the fray check because it's adding a lot of strain to the top of that snipping area. And you pin the bias and sew on top of, or ideally just next to, that row of coloured stitching. You can unpick the contrast stitching after this. Then we're going to press and fold over the bias so it encloses the stitch line and the seam allowance on the right side. You want the two sides of the bias to be as level as you can make them, so they match up on each side when you pin them in place. And then you're going to take an edge stitching foot or a blind hem foot like I showed you in my tools video and use that to top stitch the placket close to the edge through all the layers. And to finish, you fold the sleeve right sides together so the bias lies next to each other, so the bias is right sides together as well. And then you sew diagonally across the top edge of the bias, like you can see here. And then that placket can be pressed to the right or the left, so there's no wrong way to attach it, and it's neatly hidden on the inside of the garment when worn. And if you're new here, hit subscribe so you don't miss my next video. And thanks so much for watching. I'll see you all soon.